are now tuned in to this week's episode of our podcast. Today, we are going to interview some of the greatest and most influential minds in our field. By sharing our collective expertise, we will show you how to harness, control, and use your own skill set to achieve ultimate success and live the life you want. And now, please.
It's your Omobola Stephen on Live Knowledge by Omobola Stephen. Remember, the show focuses on personal development and self-improvement, which locations, experts and professionals who are added in these topics. Now, I also like to reiterate that Live Knowledge by Omobola Stephen as a personal development podcast focus on transformative and disruptive mindset conversations that is going to move you from where you had to where we need to be. Now, that's absolutely very important for us to also know that personal development is a lifelong process and it's something that we need to embrace in order to move forward in life. Today, I have Joseph M.Lenard on the show today. Joseph is an author, also is an activist, a social media influencer. Hi, Joseph M.Lenard, welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me. And yes, thank you. It's Joseph M.Lenard. It looks like Lenard, but it's not French. It's actually Polish somehow. Lenardowski or something at some point, right? And I have to go with Joseph M.Lenard because there is a Joseph Lenard out of South Carolina that's also an author. So I have to make sure to make that distinction. And I want to apologize in advance if I go off into a fog at any point because I am battling a head cold. You know, I don't like to whine and moan and complain, but you know, it's something we all deal with from time to time, right? So it could always be worse. Like, look at me. I have a bald head. I didn't choose that. I had cancer in 2010, so once it came out, I decided to just keep shaving it. So things could always be better, but things could often be worse, right?
Thank you once again, Joseph, for that motivation. Thank you once again for joining me on the show. Looking forward to an impactful time. We'll talk about mental health, talking about PTSD, and also some of the mental health challenges victims face, especially when they face or they've been encountered and terror attacks. Now, this is something that we don't really talk about much, but I believe that, you know, it's a topic that we need to address, especially in this area of change and disturbing times that we are in. So my question is how much help is available to prevent and treat the PTSD patients that follows terrorist incident?
Yeah, we don't talk about these things as much as we did before the Wuhan virus because COVID kind of took over all the news, even though terrorism didn't go away. And PTSD is, of course, not just an issue of soldiers and trauma from war. Our first responders deal with it also, you know, due to the stress of their jobs. And survivor's guilt is also a PTSD related item. People following a terrorist attack can often ask themselves, well, why did I live and they died, right? So that becomes a form of post-traumatic stress disorder also. But as to how much help is available, well, thank God, a whole lot more nowadays than used to be, right? If you think back to the Vietnam era and our soldiers coming back, and they were more or less told to just suck it up and deal with it, and there wasn't really much help in helping them to deal with the mental stresses and strains of trying to reconstitute life out of the war zone. And again, not to deal with the exclusivity of soldiers. I mean, our policemen, our firemen are rushing into mini war zones themselves on a often, not always, but often it can be a daily basis. I mean, depending on where you're at. I mean, some of our cities in America are literally war zones with gang warfare going on. And just everyday life, if you're a victim of crime, you can have a minor issue of dealing with post-traumatic stress because that's a traumatic situation. We all have traumas. It's to varying degrees. And thankfully, yes, there is more help these days for that than just trying to put someone on a pill. We need to talk about these things and work through them and understand that things may happen, but they're not the norm. And we cannot let a bad situation of one day or 1 week, 1 year, or 1 decade define us and our reality.
Oh, really? Now, buttressing your point, talking about mental health and also the guilt that follows afterwards, or some of the kind of negative feelings that comes afterwards. You go through this negative incidents. And what about the guilt? I want us to talk about this guilt issue. Why do people have this sort of guilt, especially when they have been to negative events? How can this really be addressed?
Well, yeah, guilt in this instance usually relates to survivor's guilt after a major, not necessarily a terrorist event, but it can also be an apartment fire, right? I mean, why did person in 2B and 2C die and I was in 2A? Why am I still here? That's a legitimate, I'm having one of the cold medicine fogs here. It's it's a situation that causes people to feel those legitimate feelings of, I'm happy to be alive, but I feel so sad that 2B and 2C are gone. Why am I here and they're gone? And we have to not dismiss those concerns and those feelings and address them, and that all life has value and meaning, and don't dwell on that past, but what can we do for ourselves and by way of ourselves to help others going forward in the future, to give our own life value and meaning through others.
Right. Now, we also talk about mental health. Now, this is a very interesting question I would like to ask you as it relates to as it concerns relating with one another. We all know that mental health issues is something that is very big, right? And it's something is a topic we need to be talking about. We can stop emphasizing on the importance of addressing mental health issues. Now, while we had our discussion before now, you said we like to talk about how division can set in terms of people who deal with mental health issues and who find it hard to come out of these, and then relating with one another becomes an issue. Can we just talk a bit about that?
Yeah. I mean, that's a big issue. Dealing with one another is, I think, one of our biggest problems now is that we are being pigeonholed too much or allowing ourselves. And I discuss the issues of individualism versus collectivism. We are all individuals. Martin Luther King, content of one's character. We are all individuals, not a product of our group, whatever group that may be. And we need to focus on things that we have in common, because there are always things we do have in common, rather than the divisions that some people want to peddle to keep us all at each other's throats. So we need to come at it at a ground of common understanding and caring for one another, so that we can deal with the mental health. Because of all this division, some people are feeling very isolated. Now, I'm not a psychologist. Yes, I did study psychology in that. I don't have a degree. I'm not attempting to play a psychotherapist here on the internet. I'm just talking from personal experience, what I've learned, and through what I gained through education. But people are indeed feeling isolated, and that isolation turns in on themselves, and they get lost in their own head because they're not getting enough social interactions. And that's the best way that I found, is by reaching people. If there's a commercial on TV, all right, I used to play hockey. I watch the NHL games, and there's an ad campaign about, they call it Embrace the Awkward. All right, your friends, your family. Now, if they're acting somewhat strange, is the point here, embrace the awkward. You can't know what they're going through. Everybody's an individual. Everybody's situation is somewhat different. But you can say, I may not know the right words to say because I'm not you. I don't know exactly what you're going through, but I can tell you're acting different and am going through something. So I am here for you to listen and offer whatever I can. And if I am not enough, I am here for you to try to help you find other help that can make a difference. You know what I mean? We can't be a doctor, but we can be a good family member or friend.
Right, absolutely. Thank you for that. For sharing your thoughts on that, and Joseph. You launched a book or proposed a book in the pipeline talking about terror strike, a new book, Terror Strikes, I beg your pardon. Now, the title sounds scary. Tell me a bit about it. And also, I would like you to tell my audience about just the important takeaways we can learn from this book, Terror
Yeah,
Strikes.
well, yeah. There are a lot of books that have the name Terror Strikes. So the subtitle, that cold medicine brain fog again. The subtitle is Coming Soon to a City Near You. And that's important. Terror Strikes coming soon, because again, with the Wuhan hysteria, some people seem to have believed that terrorism went away. It hasn't. You're just not seeing as much about it on the news. And to a city near you. That's important also, because it's not just a New York 9/11 thing. It's an international thing, and it can happen anywhere. There's a chapter on Toronto, a chapter on London, England, Madrid, Spain, Tokyo, Japan. But again, those are big cities. This is not just about big cities. Think about the Ohio train derailment. While we don't know if that was terrorism, we think it was just purely an accident. But a terrorist event could happen, derailing an Amtrak anywhere in the nation. So because you may live in a rural situation doesn't mean you're immune. Now I'm going to try to reach over here. I'm turning my back to the camera. I know that. I'm grabbing a piece of paper that makes that point. mass shootings, an Iowa nightclub in 2022, Arkansas car show in 2022, a Vegas hookah bar, a Virginia hookah bar. There were 200 mass shootings alone in 2022, not all of them in big city locations. So it can happen anywhere, but I'm not trying to make you paranoid. Some have tried to accuse me of selling fear porn, right? If you've heard that term. I'm not trying to get you to buy this book out of fear. It's, yes, terrorism. We follow Martin, a Detroit newspaperman who decides to write a book on terrorism. That is then the main theme, but it is about so much more than that. It's not a book about death, but of life and living. Okay, and those both foreign and domestic that may want to deprive you of life, happiness. I'm having another brain fog moment. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's the line from the Declaration and the Constitution I was looking for. May want to deprive you of life, liberty, or pursuit of happiness. It's about life over death, hope over fear, faith over despair, good over evil, individualism over collectivism, family and friends. So I don't want you to be scared or paranoid. I want you to live life, but I also don't want you to be clueless and reckless with your life. You have to be awake and alert to things that are going on around you and can intrude on your life. Like Teresa finds in the Naperville chapter, she thought she was a mama bear for her daughter Cammie, that she needed to be, but she realizes she was really more an ostrich, because if an ostrich, you've heard the analogy, if an ostrich wanders onto train tracks, hears a noise, and buries its head between the rails, is not going to stop it from being bowled over by the oncoming train just because it doesn't see it and hear it coming.
Oh, I'd like us to thank you for that beautiful explanation. But quickly, I would like you to tell my audience what really inspired you to write the book, Terror Strikes. Something will have prompted that. Quickly, let my audience know about that.
Yeah. Well, every writer is different, and of course, I have another international book, How to Write a Book and Get It Published: Hints, Tips, and Techniques, because everybody is different. And for me, my books come to me in dreams. So, that's me. That's where my inspiration comes from. Any other author, who knows? People speculate whether Stephen King has a lot of nightmares, and that's why he writes the books he does, right? So my books come to me in a dream, and this book is no different. It came to me in a dream. I felt I could relate a lot of things in this book and not just be about terrorism again. So I felt it was indeed something that I needed to publish internationally rather than in the past, over the decades, things that I've written have just been available locally. So I felt inspired from a dream.
Oh, really? Looking forward to this project of yours, Joseph. Joseph, do you have any other projects, interesting news or information you like to share with my audience quickly?
Well, yeah, I have other books in the fires, obviously. So I'm always looking for other things. But we are in a holiday season. Not everyone in your audience is obviously going to be religious, so I don't want to push that. But we are in the Easter weekend. I have a page, terrorstrikes.info/charity. I'd like you to think, whether you're religious or not, Penn of Penn and Teller, you know them, the famous magician comedy duo. He's one of my great heroes. He's an atheist. So this doesn't really necessarily have anything to do with religion. It just makes sense to want to treat others the way you want to be treated, right? I mean, you don't have to have a religious base to understand that. It's just common sense. And in this time, there's more than ever in need. Please, if you're able to help others, remember others that are less fortunate than you this weekend. terrorstrikes.info/charity.
Awesome. Any passing words you'd like to share? Do you have any?
No, just I hope you don't catch my cold through the computer, right? Colds are so miserable to deal with. I don't know what's worse, the cold itself or the side effects of those cold meds we take to deal with the sinus symptoms, you know? But, you know, that is another thing, keeping a sense of humor, right? No matter how serious things get, there is a comic relief chapter in Terror Strikes coming soon to a city near you to make that point. You've got to maintain a sense of humor. Otherwise, you'll go crazy. You'll be balled up in the corner in the fetal position, sucking on your thumb, crying all the time if you don't maintain a bit of a sense of humor, right?
Absolutely. Thank you for that motivation, Joseph. Much about that on the show today, Joseph M.Lenard, for your inspiring and motivational, like talking about mental health issues and going forward. Your social media handles and your website, if any, can you share with my audience?
Yeah, I have two websites. You can visit my author site. It's josephmlenard.us. And again, it looks like Lenard, but it's not French. It's Leonard without an O. Joseph is spelled traditionally. If you're seeing this on audio, you can see it in my background, josephmlenard.us. And also I have a book-specific site, terrorstrikes.info, which I already mentioned, that charity extension. There's a whole lot there. You can look at just the front page if you want, or you can delve under the More tab. There's line upon line of things, rabbit holes you can go down if you so choose. I believe in giving the information, and people can either look at it or not look at it. I want you to have that option, right? And of course, there's a contact tab on both websites if you want to reach out to me.
Absolutely, we can, we will. Thank you once again, Joseph. I wish you best of luck in all the projects that you embark upon going forward. Thank you, audience, for joining me on the show. Now, if you'd like to catch up any missed episodes of the show, you can do so on any cross promotion platforms you bump into. Also, you can also catch some episodes on my website, www.omobolastephen.com. And you like to get to know me and get to know much about what I do, you can also check me on my website, www.omobolastephen.com. Now, until I come your way, I need you to be good and stay safe always. I talk soon.